Look, I'm not supposed to be watching anything tonight. But surprise, surprise, bitches! It's episode 4 of Windbreaker. It's Romania Black, and yeah, it's like 9 o'clock in the evening as I'm recording this. I got home from an event for work, and I was like, I had marked out I wasn't going to record anything tonight. I was just going to sit down, watch some TV, maybe watch something spooky, I don't know, because I'm recording this ahead while it's still Halloween season. And then I got home, and I sat down, and I was looking at what was on, and all I could think of was, can I just go ahead and watch the next Windbreaker? That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So I'm like recording this 2 weeks before you all will see it, but I'm wearing the leather jacket. It feels right. And last episode, we finally got to meet Umemiya, who like is the leader. I want to know more about him and his gardening instantly. We also met Togami. We met lots of people. I'm like, we've met more of the colorful cast. I'm like, I want to know what Sakura's impression of him is. This series is just like, it's hooking me deeper and deeper, and I need to know more and more. So that's where we're at. Luckily, I've got some comments for episode 1 from Patreon that we can at least talk about before we dive into this. HBanana7, as well as Woosh and Sweebian over on the Discord, said that the name Furin, Fu in Bofurin is the kanji for wind, and rin is for bells, so basically like wind chimes. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. A lot of wind metaphors. And of course, windbreakers are protectors from these gusts of wind. I always think of the 90s windbreaker jacket that is supposed to like you wear on a gusty light day when it's like 50s and 60s outside. That's when I think of windbreaker, I think of the jacket that's used for, kind of gusty spring weather. But yes, really cool. Love that. Kirsten H said it is Haruka Sakura, not Hakura Sakura. So I think I went back and forth in episode 1 with that. So Haruka Sakura, I just like calling him Sakura. It's the cherry blossom. It fits. And that kind of ties to Alexandra Q's comment for episode 1 that is like, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks Sakura's name being Sakura Haruka is a choice. Although I do love the more delicate sounding Sakura for his gentle-hearted self. And I'm like, yes, it fits him very well indeed. Also, Alexander Q said, honestly, the trauma response with Sakura is so well done. The way he's been conditioned to not expect kindness and to be downright puzzled at receiving the smallest bits of it, like with the grandpa giving him candy as thanks for returning his bag, is heartbreaking. But it's very realistic, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I feel like I've talked to students before that were amazed that you were just kind to them. And I'm like, why wouldn't I be? And so it's insane how somebody's perspective can be so changed by that. And it's wild, right? It's wild. So yeah. Anyway, I am super excited to dive into this episode. I, of course, want to give a really quick shout out before we begin, since I got some time, since I'm recording ahead, to go ahead and thank our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. Those of you on YouTube, y'all are amazing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it so much. But those of you on Patreon that donate a little bit to my channel every month, y'all are amazing. So thank you. But special shout out to the philanthropy tier. They get mentioned in my videos. So Alex Cornejo, Be Happy, Bisa, as well as Dana Damage 3245, Devorin, Ichu, Destiny Marie, Eric, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, Elf, Freya, Linden, Liam Posel, Murphy, Willie Morris, as well as Translucent Min, Sunspots, Shimoyama, Daniel, and James. Thank you all so much. And if there are new people that are new to the philanthropy tier in November, I will mention you all in the upcoming videos on the channel. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Since I'm recording this ahead, it may change between now and then. But yeah. So we did meet. We met Umemiya. I'm excited. I've got my little list of characters to help me out here, but Umemiya is also played by Gojo's voice actor, so of course he is. I'm super excited to see more about him. I'm so curious. I want to know. This series being character driven is just sending me. So yeah, this is what y'all get. You get a hyped up Romania off of work, off of an event. So excited to dive in, but we're not gonna waste any more time. We are going to dive right into episode 4 of Windbreaker. We're still skipping the OP and ED, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. nobody. My dog was wanting me to play with him the entire time. I was like, this is why I need to like play with you an hour before I do any recording. So sorry if I went out of frame for a hot second. I tried to pick some legitimate moments to do that, but I like Umemiya a lot. He is interesting. I want to see Umemiya in a fight. I want to see how Umemiya communicates with his fists. Umemiya is so fascinating. This was a really good episode. Windbreaker is just so much fun with character development, and every episode has just like tiny little kernels of character moments that either are verbal or non-verbal that I'm like, okay, we need to break that down because it all like culminates and adds to itself, right? Okay, I feel like the game of this series is also who are we shipping Tachibana with? Because so we find out Tachibana is 16. Girl is like living on the streets 16 because that I thought she was like 20. I thought she was at least 20 years old, maybe 22. And not that she looks older, but she has this maturity to her that makes sense now when they said they were from a home, like a group home. So they're all, I'm assuming, like either foster kids or orphans, but they're from a group home. And Sakura seems like he's from a group home too, although the group home he's from maybe did not have the camaraderie and community that Umemiya and that Tachibana got from there. So I've shifted around. Episode 1, I was like, oh, Sakura and Tachibana. And then I thought, what if Tachibana's too old for Sakura? So I was like, maybe not. And then I was like, oh, Umemiya. What about Umemiya and Tachibana? And now they're more like siblings. They give me, again, from Jujutsu Kaisen, Gojo, and like Airi vibes from that series, and that's all I'll say. But now I have evolved. I've jumped ship from Sakura and Tachibana. Not that, knowing they're about the same age, I'm like, it could theoretically work, but I think that she is leagues above our boy Sakura. No. She would run circles around Sakura emotionally. Our boy needs a gentle head pat, not her. No, she is not the one. Now I have switched gears and I am thoroughly going to ship Hiragi and Tachibana. And poor Hiragi is the Reiner of Windbreaker. I'm just convinced of it. And if you don't know who Reiner is, go watch Attack on Titan. You'll understand. But he is the Reiner of Windbreaker. And I feel like this mangaka is like, how can we torture Hiragi? How can we torture him? Oh, he has stomach pains and ulcers. And he gets freaked out over all of these kids he has to take care of acting a fool. There's that. Then on top of that, his boss is hyper protective of Tachibana, who's the girl that Hiragi potentially likes, but he's like, I can't be with this girl because my boss is super hyper protective of her, and I don't know if Hiragi seems like he has a superiority complex where he thinks he's not worthy enough to be worthy of Tachibana, perhaps, and so with the fact that Umemiya is like, who's trying to hurt my little baby sis, makes me think that Hiragi likes her, and he's just like, I'm not worthy of her. I don't know if I can live up to the expectations that Umemiya has for somebody to possibly date his little sister. And I'm like, oh my god, you just need your boss's blessing. But I kind of want to ship them. We're going to go back to that scene of him in the restaurant with, I think he was thinking of her. We'll see. But he seems as eager to protect her as Umemiya does, so we'll see how that goes. So Umemiya is like the most all-around goodest bean. I mean, Umemiya is just, he has these down slanted big blue eyes, this whitish gray hair. He's prematurely graying. And he's all into gardening. Which tells me two things that the leader of the one dog gang needs to learn. One, y'all need hobbies. Y'all are like, I'm bored, let's fight. It's like, no, start a garden. Go paint murals. Not graffiti, but go paint murals on school buildings. Go do something constructive with your time, like Umemiya is doing by all the plants. Go do that. So one, these people need hobbies. Umemiya's got it covered, and Umemiya is growing plants for his community and his friends and all of his family, so his found family, so good for him. But the other thing is, when he talked about the different kinds of plants, and how he can tell them all apart. And Sakura's like, they all look like grass to me. I'm like, no. If you've done any horticulture classes, you know that the plants look very different. Even on the screen, they have different leaves, they have different stems, they're different colors. So what I like about it is it shows how observant Umemiya is, but also that he can tell the uniqueness and sense the uniqueness in those around him. The metaphor, him cultivating the plants, is a metaphor for him cultivating the people at Bofurin to become better people and to be able to help out the community. The plants are a literal metaphor. They are a metaphor of the community being aided, all that good stuff. It's nice to see some good symbolism right in front of your face, right? We love to see it. I also like because Hiragi and Umemiya are very good foils for each other. Hiragi has this very hard, like, just been rode hard and hung up wet kind of look to him. And Umemiya is like a pretty boy. He's like the pretty boy, right? But I like that they both are kind of, good foils for each other. So it's great. And then Suo's like, oh, that's the cause of Hiragi-san's stomach aches. Suo is maybe my most fun character to watch in the background of these episodes, because no matter what's happening, if you watch Suo has a very distinct, body posture. He, always seems very prim and proper. He has the coffee, the tea. He has his hands behind his back. He seems very dignified. And I think that that's because he comes from an upbringing that is not like that at all. And so it's kind of a want that he has. I am projecting my own theories on Suo's character because we don't know a lot about him, but I feel like Suo maybe came from nothing. And so he wants to project this posh, persona because he doesn't have that in real life. So we'll see. We'll see what we find out. But our dear boy, Kiyotaro is demanding that Sakura respect and call him Umemiya-san. So he's like, oh, everybody's here. Now, how did Umemiya learn about Sakura? Well, I'm sure he heard around. And he also seems like he has eyes everywhere and he learns many different things. He says we have green peppers, we have eggplants, we have cucumbers, okra. For the record, when I was in grad school, we had a class on sustainability, which was an amazing class. And we had to volunteer somewhere an hour a week. We had to go volunteer somewhere. You could work more, but you had to do an hour. You had to log an hour, but you could work as many hours as you wanted to. I went to an animal shelter because I wanted to walk puppies and play with cats. But my friend in the class worked at this farm to table restaurant that they grew their own vegetables, they grew their own food, they had their own animals they processed. They did everything farm to table. And I remember one weekend she had to go pick okra and she didn't bring gloves. And if you've never picked okra before, the stems, you have a sticker bush where the stickers are all there. And if you're trying to pull weeds out of your yard or pull weeds out of a garden, sometimes the stickers get stuck in your hand and you're like, that hurts. Yeah, okra's like that. And she didn't know that. And I don't think she asked for gloves until she started picking the okra. And then her hands were covered in needles. And she was like, help. And they were like, why didn't you bring gloves or ask for them, fool? And so ever since then, I always, when I think of okra, I'm like, yeah, those things would be a bitch to harvest. He's like, they're all unique and cute, aren't they? I also kind of love that, again, we are doing a lot of subverting of toxic masculinity in this series because Umemiya is clearly the strongest one at Bofurin. And he just has to say one word in a different tone and you're like, oh, which that's the thing. It's very much the people that are nice all the time and are super happy-go-lucky. The moment they are not so happy-go-lucky and not so nice, you're like, oh, they're mad. I should not mess with them. It's very much a tactic that he's doing intentionally. But I genuinely do think Umemiya is typically a nice guy and not somebody that's trying to pick a fight or trying to be mean. But I like the idea that he says they're all cute. They're all unique and cute. They're nice. And he's not he's like, they're all tough plants, these tough pepper plants. He's like, they're cute. Look, I do love Sakura's face of why are we, I came to Bofurin to fight and be top dog, not learn about eggplants. Now, Suo kind of adopts that same mentality as well because he tries to make the middle school kid feel better and be like, you'll be fine. And then Hiragi's he never listens to others. And once he starts talking, he yaps until he's satisfied. And Naray's like, hey, you're kind of projecting on him, aren't you? And Sakura's like, they're all the same. They're just grass. He's like, they look totally different. They really do. And he's like, he was like this during the broadcast. He's somewhat foolish, but he changes the atmosphere with just his voice. He's like, I hope I get a good crop. What is it that draws people to him? It's just that he's nice. It's just that he's kind and compassionate and a nice person. Like, his whole thing is about defending his town. That I'm sure that someone in that town did good to him and was kind to him. And he probably was like Sakura, where he probably never had anybody be nice to him. Or when they were in that, like, home growing up, they probably suffered through a lot of hardship. And somebody was probably kind to him and he's paying it forward. We'll see. We'll see what got him to this point. But I really like Umemiya. He has a very youthful look to him. I like him. Haragi seems like he's like, God, I have to deal with him all the time. And then the middle school kid explains what happened. They saw a shoplifter and he went over to the wrong turf and they chased me and then these two saved me. So we get a little recap of what ended up happening. And I like that we don't see Umemiya's face throughout all of this. But he knows that his name... He says he knows his name is like Sako. And he's like, well, thanks. He doesn't answer how he knew his name. He doesn't answer, but I wonder if Umemiya has a photographic memory, because some people do. And I wonder if he has a photographic memory, and when he connects people's names to faces. Some people are great at that. I am a face person. When I see someone's face and I recognize the face, I'm like, oh, I know you. But I am 100% terrible at names. Absolutely awful with names. Connecting names to faces. I think because in my job, I see so many people every day that they're like, do you remember me from 6 months ago? And I'm like, some people I do. But if I see people like just once or twice, I'm like, no, I don't remember. I'm sorry. So, but some people have such a good photographic memory. They just see people one time and they know who they are. And I'm like, I am envious of y'all. You say you sparked it, but it's the result of you trying to save the town and its people. He's like, there's no need for you to apologize. Just leave it to your big brothers. Someone has influenced Umemiya. Someone influenced him to believe this way, and he is paying it forward through Bofurin. Someone has influenced him, and I want to know his backstory. Umemiya is a man of mystery. Umemiya is such a just quintessential mentor figure, even though he's like 17 probably. He's such a quintessential mentor figure because he has the vibes of everything's fine. I'm the aged pro. I know what I'm doing. We're all good. We'll protect you. He just gives off so many green flag mentor vibes, and I love it. And yeah, and then the kid's really happy. And he's like, how did they beat him? And he's like, oh, they kicked him away. He's like, oh. And then he just laughs. I love his laugh. This big, just mouthful. He like Tachibana seem a little bit wise beyond their years, even though they have this like youth to them as well. Talking to them would do no good. And then Haragi's like, I'm so ashamed. I'm like, Haragi is just on himself so hardcore for no reason. And even Umemiya says you always shoulder the blame by yourself. Like, Umemiya gets onto him. He's like, quit doing that. It's not healthy for your gut. It's not healthy for your personality. And Narai's like, I should take after what Umemiya says and don't let that get to me. He's like, I'm the one who told you to keep an eye on these two. I see your stomach's flaring up again. Oh! And Narai's like, well, you're the one who sealed the deal, Sakura. I love it. Narai throws him under the bus. He's like, did you pick a fight? And then Sakura explains why. That they're weaklings. I love Suo's expression of like, yeah, that seems like an answer you'd give. But then he gets the ultimate head pat from Umemiya. And again, what I love about this series if you look in the background of this moment, Umemiya is just giving him a head pat. Narai is like, oh my God. Like, Narai is so stunned. Suo's like, oh my God, this is happening. Kiyotaro is so pissed. He's like, you get head pats? I've wanted head pats for 3 years. How did you get one when you've known him for 5 minutes? And he's like, well said. He's like, I've been thinking about how they've gotten lame lately. I heard what happened on the main street yesterday. Yeah. And today you saved Sasaki. Sasaki, thanks for protecting my family. Of course. Umemiya is like, thanks for protecting my family. You're gonna be a good Bofurin recruit yet. And Sakura, who's probably never had a head pat in his literal life, like spontaneously combusts. And he gets now why people like him. Also, his reaction is just like a cat being stroked behind the ears for the first time. Yep, I've gained a little brother. Lovecraft Kiyotaro was like, oh my god, stop. This feeling I'm burning to the tips of my ears. Yeah, it's called affection. Literally just scratch this man behind the ears and you've wooed him to pieces. Sakura's got a praise kink and it is totally fine. Yep. Being with him must make you feel safe. He's like, since when are you my big brother? What a tsundere. He's like, I think of everyone in this town as family. I mean, we love a found family trope. We love it. So Kaji, of course, Shishitoren shows up. And the gang's all here, or about to be here. But first, okay, so the leader of Shishitoren, he says everything in threes. He says, hello, hello, hello. He doesn't say mochi mochi. He says something else in Japanese that is hello. Maybe it's like slang, like a slang way of saying it. Also, he's like, I'm the leader, Choji, Tomiyama. So Choji is interesting. We have Tomiyama and Togami. Tomiyama reminds me of Yaku from Haikyuu, and Umemiya reminds me of Kuro. Which is funny with the voice actors. I don't know who plays Choji. What voice actor plays Choji? We're going to find out. Voice actor for Choji, for Windbreaker. Who plays him? His is Kenosuke Toya is the Japanese voice actor. I don't know if I know Kenosuke Toya. Who does he play? I don't think he's Denji in Chainsaw Man. Denji's voice actor. Hello. I feel like he was relatively new on the scene when he played Denji. Oh yeah, he just started voice acting like 4 years ago. Chainsaw Man was like his first role, which what a first role to play. If you've not seen Chainsaw Man, what a first role to walk into. Okay, so he's that. Okay, awesome. And he's been on, he's in the new Black Butler. I need to catch up with that at some point. But yeah, interesting. Okay. Not the same character. So not being typecast, that's a fun time. I definitely get little gremlin vibes from Choji, where he just wants to fight. We're going to skip this intro here. Get back to the school. The high school is actually pretty big, and it's connected to another building. So he just left this trail of bodies. Choji just beat up people and left a trail of bodies. Fun. Nirai is automatically like assuming the worst case scenario and that we're about to break out into this big citywide brawl. I'm like, my dude, you need to calm down for a hot second. And Sakura's like, I'm ready. I don't remember last episode with Togami being labeled the second in command. I don't remember that. Did that happen? Did I miss that? I thought Togami was the leader. I am apparently wrong. I must have missed that subtitle. And so, of course, what gets me is that Sakura is trying to be the literal shonen protagonist where he's like, oh, so we found Choji. He's their leader. He's stronger than Togami. I'll have to face him to prove my worth, to prove that I'm just as strong as Umemiya, who's the leader of Bofurin. Like any other shonen, battle shonen, where your main character is trying to measure up to like the leader of another sect or whatever, this would be the mentality. But the funny thing is Sakura is trying his damnedest to be a shonen protagonist, and it's just not in the cards for him. He's got to learn the hard way that there's layers to this. This ain't your mama's shonen. No. So he thinks he's instantly going to fight. He's instantly going to fight Choji. But that's not the case. Also, I almost missed it, but there was this blue flame that erupted within, like this blue sparking flame in Umemiya, where this blue flame erupts and it becomes this like man on fire. And he takes off, and that got Sakura's attention, like, oh. And he turns to see when the anime man walks by and throws the jacket on like that, it's over. It's over. Just stop the fight. It's not going to happen. Him throwing on the long... That's why he wears the long cape jacket. It's so freaking badass and cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with the short jacket, but the cape jacket, it just screams top dog. It just screams... it just... everything about it. Give it... They didn't even have to show it from the front side perspective. You showed it from the side perspective. Still works great. So they all go down. I like the little hello sticker on the stairs. That's great. I like that Suo's not in any hurry. And Narai's like, hey guys, what we doing? Even you, Sasaki, hold on. And they all go down to see what's going on. I like that Umemiya's like, stay here. Let me take care of this. I'm not saying it again. Hiragi and Kiyotaro do not seem very, worried or like surprised by his phrase. But Narai and Suo and Sakura are like, oh, okay, you've told us to stay back. And Sakura's like, I can't move. And I don't think it's Sakura being scared. I think it's literally respect. I think that he's like, oh, this guy's the leader and he told us to stay back. Let's respect that and not move. So, interestingly, Umemiya is like, hello. I like that Umemiya, whenever he looks towards Choji, his eyes don't look mad. They don't look like enraged or furious or anything like that. He just looks sad. He looks at Choji like, hey man, why are we doing this? What's going on? Like, that's the vibe that he gives off with the eyes. Like, hey, I'm not pissed off. I'm just like, what we doing? What we doing here? You know? The not mad, I'm just disappointed face. That's what those eyes are giving. And he's like, you got something that belongs to us. And he's like, oh, I know. But he's like, you seem happy. Yeah, he just looks disappointed. Umemiya looks extremely disappointed at him as he looks at him. He's laughing as he confronts Umemiya in that state. Yeah, I mean, they all have a little bit of like a psychopathic streak to them, or they feel like, there's like people in school that just acted crazy as a form of intimidation. That's what they all like seem like they're going around and doing. And he has to say things like 3 times. He's like, one-on-one, 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 and tries to fight him. I mean, I do appreciate a short king. Choji as our short king, we appreciate, but we're going to talk about him in a second. And I like that Sakura calls him restless. He might have attention deficit disorder. He might, just restless is the way to say it. Sure. But he also felt like he was analyzing Umemiya to see where there was an opening. And then he tried to like kick at him. And, he's like, am I satisfied? And he's like, you should hurry on. And then he goes to kick Umemiya, and Umemiya blocks it. I love the fight choreography in this series. The fight choreography is so clean and smooth. Love it. Don't be hasty, Master Mary. Yeah, Choji just wants to fight Umemiya. Do I think Choji can beat Umemiya? No. I feel like Umemiya, if he wanted to, would kick the snot out of Choji, but he's definitely not at the moment. Because that's when the gang shows up. He's like, why do you want to fight so badly? And he says, I want you, Uma-chan. And at first, everybody's looking at it like, what is this, a ship? Choji wanting him like a ship? Maybe it's the connotation of how he said it. Suo's like, oh. I feel like Suo is constantly ready for a BL to just start in this series. Like, Suo's ready. He's ready. When the other guy's about to come on the scene, Suo's like, I'm so set. I feel like Suo's like, is there fan fiction about this? I'm sure there is. I love their reactions. Hiragi's like, makes sense. Kiyotaro's like, are you talking bad about my boss? Sakura's like, what kind of series is this? I thought we were Battle of Shonen. Narai's like, I'm not ready. And Suo's like, oh. And then he's like, ever since I became the top, it's gotten so boring. And Umemiya should be like, have you considered gardening? Have you considered taking up a hobby? He says, but you, Ume-chan, you're at the top. You seem to have fun all the time, laughing like a fool. It's like, yeah, take meditation, yoga, gardening. It's so unfair. He's like, so I'll take Furin and Ume-chan and all for myself. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work out for you. He seems very young, first of all. Choji seems insanely young, like maybe 14 or 15, and just seems like he has this warped idea of what being at the top means. But I feel like Umemiya has a much more grandiose sense of it, and Choji's very short-sighted. And then when he's like, well, you had it rough, Choji, and Choji's like, what are you talking about? And that's when the rest of the gang shows up. I feel like Umemiya was trying to get at, like, you've had this really bad home life growing up, and that's why you have this warped perspective of what it means to be at the top of something, and you don't understand what that really is. So I'm curious to see how their match goes. I don't know if we're starting out this tournament arc. It feels like a tournament arc. Does it not? I don't know if we're starting out with Choji versus Umemiya or if we're building up to it. If it's just going to be one-on-one brawls to build up to that, I don't know. So then the rest of the gang shows up, led by Togami. He's like, the boss rating all alone, most unsatisfactory. I watched another series this spring called The Apothecary Diaries. If you've not seen The Apothecary Diaries, highly recommend it. Great show. But there are, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's kind of like a historical anime. It goes like into like sort of old, without spoiling anything, there is someone that is very young that's in a position of power in the series. They're very, very young. And from the outside, it looks like they're in this position of power. But then when you look into it, it turns out that they are very much kind of sort of at some points being strung along by people who are older than them that are taking advantage of their position to influence them and lead them to do things and kind of basically trying to influence them for their own agenda. I get that vibe with Choji. I get that vibe that Choji's like one of those young pharaohs that was like put on the throne at age 8, that their advisors were like, well, young pharaoh, since you're the king and you're in charge, how about we do this? And how about we do that? And how about we do that? And it's all in your name, but we're actually influencing you to do it. That's the vibe I get with Choji and Togami and the others, that Choji is kind of the scapegoat on top, and they put him there to appease him, because it kind of also seems like Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. If you've ever watched that series, highly recommend. There is a character in that series that seems from the outskirts all powerful and has all of this influence and is the top dog. But then as you go on in the series, you find out, oh, actually you're not. You're maybe the most powerful, but they put you in a position of power to kind of satiate you and keep you from going crazy and doing things that would harm the powers that be that have put you there. That also gives me Choji vibes here, where they put Choji as like a loose cannon. He has all this energy and he needs to contain it and designate it somewhere. So they're like, oh, we'll put you as the top spot so that it will appease to you and satisfy you, but we're not really trusting you with too many decision makings. I don't know. But I also kind of like that because it is different than how Bofurin works, because Umemiya, doesn't just put somebody at the top to do what they're doing with Choji. Umemiya is taking on all the responsibility and giving back and organizing and delegating. I don't think Choji is doing that at all. Togami seems to be the one that's kind of pulling the strings behind the curtain, right? He seems to be the Oz behind the curtain, which would make sense with his green eyes. Fits. As soon as I explained the situation, you flew out. I always say you need to listen to the whole story. And then I like that whenever Togami calls Sakura Othello-kun, Umemiya looks over like, they didn't tell me you had a nickname. He just looks over like, I didn't know this? Like, Umemiya is usually in the know, so for him to not know something is really funny. It's really funny. But yeah, so they decide that I can't believe Sakura talked back to Umemiya. First of all, I was like, my dude, But also Umemiya did not get mad. He was just like, okay, all right. He's like, I see you're talking back. That's fun. So they decide to do this one-on-one brawl. They're going to face off against each other. Nerei's like, I don't have to be a part of this, right? I don't want to do that. He's like, have your guys stand back. So he was going to fight him. I like how Umemiya squints his eyes and tries to look a little bit more intimidating. And then meanwhile, Choji is like, whatever, and looks as crazy-eyed as can be. Whenever the one guy says their boss is quite the softie, you could tell Kiyotaro was like foaming at the mouth, like dog noises. The one guy that's just like, oh my gosh, like, why are they being like this? Oh my gosh, we're actually all crazy. See, it is. The moment he says that, and he's like, they're so dull, but I can tell, aren't I amazing? And Suo's like, oh. And Elizabeth says, like, you've got a fierce-looking face, but you talk like a little boy. How cute. I feel like Suo was so pissed at him. He's like, you're the most annoying person on the planet, but I'm not going to let you have the satisfaction of knowing you annoy me. So instead, I'm going to tell you that I'm working on my fan fiction for AO3. So here we go. I love it. Suo's great. So they decide that they're going to do this like series of one-on-ones over and over again. And, I don't know. Just, the way, see, like, Togami and Umemiya, their eyes both slant downwards, but then they have those smile that slants upwards, and it's like, it looks kind of creepy. The way he smiles, it looks kind of creepy. And Sakura firing back the one-liners. Like, let's all go at it. I don't know if tournament arc is the way to describe it. I don't know if that's the way. Also, if you look at it, Umemiya has the downturned eyes as well, but he frowns, whereas Togami smiles. So with Togami, it looks creepier. With Umemiya, he just looks like a disappointed dad. That's basically it. So a tournament arc may not be the best way to describe it, but they're going to do a series of 1v1s. So, yeah, the guy that says he's going to take the eye patch, God, I want him to just get trounced. Just trounced immediately. Yeah, the one guy with the half-shaved hair that wants to go after Kyotaro, you do that. Sure thing. He's like, see, isn't it almost fun if we fight together? Oh. And then I like Hiragi being like, sheesh, this year's first years. He's like, we got a rough crowd. But then this person stands up and they're like, can I go as well? With the Kinma hair from Haikyuu. Also, look, I'm just going to point this out. If Hiragi is being shipped with Tachibana, this person that has just stood up and pointed their finger saying they want to go against Hiragi, Koda and Tachibana, they kind of have the same eyes. They kind of have the same hairstyle. They're kind of similar in appearance. I'm just saying, Hiragi might have a type. And if Hiragi is a bisexual disaster, that will fit even more into him. That will fit even more. And Hiragi's like, okay, so we got beef. We got historical beef. I'm ready. I'm ready for the historical beef to go down. I love it. So we have our lineup. Also, the fact that Choji looks like a little chipmunk, and also Shang Qinghua from... Choji looks like Shang Qinghua from Scumville and Self-Saving System. This series is reminding me of all the other series, and I live for it. So yeah, curiouser and curiouser. It does bother me a little bit from a organizational standpoint that our lineup of like Suo is matching with Koda, Sakura is matching with the guy with the weird like cute thing. The one guy is matched up with Kyotaro, so that's fine. But then like Umemiya is matched up with Togami and Hiragi is matched up with Choji. I'm like, are they matching up personalities with personalities here instead of... It bothered me a little bit when I first saw this in the episode because I was like, the matchups aren't matching up. But what I think it is it's the personality traits that are matching up. So Koda is basically their version of Suo. Sakura being the same version of the one guy that Suo called cute. Is that a subtle way of getting around that Suo and Sakura are getting shipped together? We'll find that out. But then you have Kyotaro and the one guy with the half-shaved head. That seems to match up. They seem that they're each other's respective sides. But then what's interesting is you have Hiragi and Choji and Umemiya and Togami. Now, Umemiya and Togami have the same matching downset eyes, but is it that Togami is actually the real leader, like Umemiya, and he's just putting Choji in charge to, like, manage a loose cannon, whereas Hiragi's only loose cannon is his bowels? I don't know. So, interesting. I like our windbreaker little break. It's nice. So, Cafe Pothos. We go here. I like that Kyotaro sits at the bar, everybody else sits at the table, and Nirai is having a freak out moment. It's fine. Now, did sweet Suo not order any omelets? Maybe not. He just has a little cup of tea. That could be. Sakura does not know table manners. He's literally the Beast from Beauty and the Beast with the spoon in the soup. Like, it's maybe I'm raised to be a Southern lady with grace and dignity, but you always wait till everybody has their food before you dive in. That's only common courtesy. So maybe Suo just wanted the coffee. That would make sense. But yeah, but Sakura's not here to wait. He's going to eat his omelet and go rest up, right? And she's like, don't worry. My bro and his friends aren't that weak. So yeah, Sakura's ready to go. He doesn't eat the tomatoes or the broccoli. Doesn't eat the veggies. And they're like, but Umemiya's group isn't here yet. And he's like, well, they're late. But then again, they did have to explain what was going on to everybody at that school, which would take a while. And so then they show up, and Suo says this is always the place that we hang out before a match. I was wrong. I thought that Tachibana and Umemiya were going to be a thing, or that he liked her, but he is very much treating her like a sibling. I like that Kyotaro is like polite and gets up to let him sit down. The most polite being. Watch how Aragi goes into this room. Umemiya is like, oh, he's like, oh, Tachibana. He's like, your hairdo is so cute. It looks so good on you. He just, knowing that they have a sibling bond, he just casually goes up and just says the most kind, flirty things to her, but it means nothing. And meanwhile, Haragi's like, I would have said that, but you said it before me. Because he just walks right past and doesn't say anything. I'm like, Haragi, he doesn't even look at her. He doesn't even look at her. But you know he wants to. I'm like, oh, my ship. He's like, those veggie sprouts are getting so big. Okay, there is a phone cover that he has. He also has his hair down in the phone cover. So kind of like Sakura. And then there's somebody with like black hair that's next to him. And then is the person with glasses and brown hair, is that supposed to be her when she was younger and she wears contacts now? Or is that somebody else? I don't know. I want to like back up to see if we get just a little bit. I want to see what's on that phone cover. I know we'll get to it eventually. I'm sure we'll see it eventually. But that's such a damn tease. How dare. Yeah, there's people in the background. That's such a tease. How dare you tease us with this phone cover? Not fair. Yep. He's like, I'll have some delivered here in the summer. And the moment she was giving like just straight one line answers and not showing her being like blushy faced or whatever, I was like, they're not a ship. They're not dating. Because Sakura's like, what's up with that? She's a favorite of Umemiya. And Sakura's like, is she his girlfriend? And I like that Haragi spits. Haragi's like, I wish it was me. And Suo's like, oh, you took it that way. And Haragi kind of chuckles and she's like, no. She's like, don't be so stupid. He's like, that's right, don't be stupid. It's nothing frivolous like a girlfriend. Frivolous like a girlfriend. You think it's frivolous? He's like, she's my little sister. And she's like, it's not that either. And then Sakura's like, wait, what? And she says that we all grew up in the same group home. And Sakura he's like, that's why Ume just rattles off on his own. And he's like, oh, is that it? So, and she kind of looks over, like saying in a group home was going to be something that would get them. I wonder if she was expecting judgment when she said that, because, you know, like foster home does carry, unfortunately, stigma for some people. Some people look down on that, and not that they should, but some people do. And so I wonder if she was expecting for people to judge her from saying she was from a group home, and then Sakura's like, oh, so that's what it is. Okay. And I feel like she respects that, because she's like, okay, so you get it. Because she, like, you know, hears that and she kind of smiles like, all right, you know what's going on. But she literally has the same haircut as Koda, I'm just saying. And they're like, hold on a second, little sister, not big sister. And he's like, yes. And she says 16, so she's the same age as Sakura. Girl has grown up on the streets and has so much street smarts. Also, never say someone looks too old to be 16. Don't say that. Don't say that to their face. And when you said look 20 or older, I mean, I agree with Sakura. Would I ever say it to her face? Hell no. Also, you get a chair thrown at you. And Kyotaro's really great at throwing chairs or breaking desks. One of the two. And then he looks over and he's like, oh, Kodaha is very mature. He's like, don't say my sister looks old. And I like Nirai's like clutching Sakura like, what'd you do that for? Love it. So then he's like, you shouldn't say. I like they have to correct Kyotaro. Don't throw things like that. Also, I heard him talk earlier in the episode, like at the very beginning. And I was like, oh, there's Mahito. I hear it now. And Hiragi stood up and he's like, Umemiya absolutely adores Tachibana. So if he finds out she got into any danger, he's like, do you understand? He's like, don't make my life harder. He's like, she's obsessed with her. Don't make my life harder. Yep. So he's like, her omelet's the best rice in all of Japan. She's like, just shut up and eat it. So then we have this moment with Hiragi. I mean, the way that Tachibana and Umemiya interact, I'm like, okay, they are not a ship. They are like siblings. They're like brother and sister. No, that's all good. But then we see with Hiragi this like moment where we see what looks like her training with him by like punching his hands. And I'm like, do you all have history? Or are you talking about, or is this Koda? Which one are you referring to? What is this? I need to know things. Are they sibling? Are they related? Well, no, Tachibana, and then no, they're not siblings. But I think Hiragi likes Tachibana. I think he likes her. But what a world! How can you like someone when she's being doted upon by your boss? He's like, I was thinking about how. He's like, I was thinking about how Shishitoren used to be. So maybe he is thinking about Koda in that moment. Maybe he is thinking about Koda. Maybe I'm trying to ship Tachibana with Hiragi when there's already a ship forming between Koda and Hiragi, and I'm just ignoring it. We'll see. We'll see. And so Sakura asks if Shishitoren was different in the past, and he's like, they're devotees to power. They are a team that simply sought strength in fighting one another, or fighting others. Some of them were hot-headed, but they weren't a bunch that would chase middle school kids. Yep. So he's like, there was a big clash, and they just, talked it out with their fists. They did their talk no jutsu with their fists no jutsu. But then Umemiya, Choji, became the leader, and all these rumors started spreading. Which I feel bad for Choji, because I think Choji, again, a lot of the characters in this story, which is kind of related to a lot of delinquents, a lot of these characters, they're just, I don't want to use the word misunderstood because that seems so cliche, but they really just need to like exert their energy in more productive ways. That's like a lot of it. They're just fighting because there's nothing else. There's no other way for them to exert these emotions they have. And there's no support networks that are really in place in this impoverished city to really offer them any way to do so. So they're like, we'll just start fights because that's all we know to do. And Umemiya is like, yes, well, we'll have conversations with our fists because that's the only thing we know how to do as well. Interesting. He's like, the reason lies with Choji. And he's like, we'll find out after we talk tomorrow. Sometimes a fist is a language where you learn more about your opponents than words. I love this. I love the idea. It's like, because it's a battle shonen. They're going to fight. So how do you justify gaining narrative when you're just fighting all the time? And so the idea is that we're going to gain, look, if Kuroko's basketball can have superpowers, why are we to say that Windbreaker can't solve problems with their fists? Why can't we have conversations with our fists? Who's to say that we can't, right? I love how every time I look over, though, you have Tachibana like trying to put out the sign and Hiragi's looking away as Umemiya is making a scene, right? And he's like, I'll come by again. She's like, please don't. And this kid Sasaki, he's such a sweetheart. And then Umemiya's like, it'll be fine. We'll do our best. I like that it cuts to Sakura and he's like, I'm not fighting for you. And they're like, come on, you blushy McBlusherson. Just say, leave it to me. And then he's like, leave it to me. I love the animation on her against that door when she's like, well done. I love it. Looks so freaking good. The lighting, the shadows, everything. Amazing. And I like that Sakura's like, I've never thought of it that way. I've never thought of a fist being used as a way of having a conversation. I also like the body language. You have Umemiya leading the pack. You have Hiragi and Kiyotaro like right behind him. Suo's bringing up the rear because he's like, I don't mind doing that. Anyway, and Nirai's like, I really just wish I was anywhere else. And then Sakura is at the very back in the complete shadows. Yes. Yes, indeed. But he's like, I feel more confident. I'm not going to lose. And so then everybody else shows up here. So curious. I want to see like how this fight order is going to go down. How's this fight order going to go down? We need to see this. We need to see how it's going to happen. And now we have to wait till next week. So, I really liked this episode a lot. This episode was great. I loved it. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for this clash to get underway. I'm so ready to see it all go down. But before that, I'm gonna definitely be excited to read some comments about this series. So I look forward to reading your comments, even if they don't get from this episode until way down the road. Y'all know how that works. But I'm excited to hear them. I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction discussion. I can't wait to hear your comments down below. I cannot believe this season has 13 episodes, which is fun. I just realized that today. I was like, we're on episode 4 already. How many episodes are in this season? This first season is 13, which is not a lot. Not enough. Certainly not enough. I'm glad we have a season 2 already. I'm so glad we do. But we are going to be... we're going to be like literally a third of the way through after next week. What is this? No, not acceptable. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I will be back very soon with episode 5 of Windbreaker.